All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thanks so much for making some time to attend. Oh, wait, I forgot to record. No, wait, I did. I'm better than I thought. Okay. Welcome, guys. First Conversations Coaching Group. This is our second time getting together to share ideas and just try to provide some inspiration to help you guys have more conversations and get connected to more of the likely sellers in your network. So I'm Dana Allen. I am an account manager. I'm an agent coach and trainer here at First. I've been with First about 3 years, working alongside closely with agents that whole time. So that's what qualifies me to be here. And also, I love hosting. That's kind of my background was in hospitality. I love getting people together. I love making connections, and I think it's super important. So this group is for people who are active in the app, who are really putting in the effort to make connections with their contacts. So we just want to give you guys a little bit of extra support. So thanks for being here and making time today. This is our outline for today. We'll go over the welcome, give you guys the basics of the group again, made some updates and improvements based on y'all's feedback from last month, which was really helpful. And then we'll go over our basics on breaking the ice, trying to get into that first conversation, and then talk about some ideas for September. We'll have our take action section at the end. And we're going to keep this to a tight 30 minutes, so it shouldn't go any longer than that. I also have a call at the end of that, so I promise it will be quick. It's just you guys remember how this works. I can't see you, so your cameras aren't on. I can't currently hear you, but we do have the chat function, and I will actually open it up so that everybody can talk at the end, so if people want to jump in. Actually, I'm just going to do that right now. Actually, no, I'm not. There's too many people. Okay, I'll do it at the end though, I promise. So this is the basics for how this group works. Nope, those are the not so basics. These are the basics of how this group works. We meet once a month. It is on the 4th Thursday of the month, according to my Google Calendar. We meet for 30 minutes. This group is invitation only. So again, if you received an invitation to this, you have been active in the app and putting in the effort. But just remember, it is determined every month. So you just want to keep up the good work, keep logging in and putting in the work next month so you can come back. And I do send a post-session survey after this, and I really ask you guys to just take 5 minutes and fill it out for me. It is really helpful to get your insights on what's a good use of your time and what's not. That's the only reason I'm doing this, is to help you. So if you can let me know how that goes or how it's going, I really appreciate it. Plus, if you want a copy of this, if you want a recording, or if you want pictures of the slides, PDFs of the slides, you can let me know in the survey, and then I will follow up and send them to you. So fill out that survey if you want to get a recording, and also just to help make this more valuable. The not so basics of this group, just to give a little more nuance, I share suggestions, not scripts, right? So these are reasons to reach out and ideas, but I'm never going to give like just a straight up script for you to use. I want you to personalize and make it your own. This is a jumping off point, right? I'm trying to help you find more reasons to maybe talk to the people who it hasn't been as easy to connect with, right? Maybe people you're a little out of touch with. But what I know for sure is that the agents who are winning the most business are consistently following up, right? It's not just about that one conversation, it's building the relationship. Be gracious and sincere, or don't do it at all, right? Hopefully, if you're in this group, this is something that you are passionate about, something you enjoy doing. But not everything here is going to resonate with you, and that's fine. Just pick the ones that do, make it your own. People are always going to respond best when you are, being sincere and being genuine. So not everything's a fit for everyone. So I've got quite a few options and ideas for you guys. And you will notice a lot of what I'm recommending, a lot of what I'm suggesting are events or gift ideas. I've definitely got some outreach ideas, just reasons to call. But yeah, frankly, I have seen a lot of agents have a huge amount of success by taking all or a large portion of what's previously been their marketing budget, postcards, whatever ads, and redirecting that towards their sphere in the form of gifts and events. So yes, the things I'm suggesting may not all necessarily be free. Some of them are, but I think that if you're an agent, you're spending money as it is, think about where you're spending that money to have an impact. If you want to win business from your sphere, you got to spend some more money there, right? Okay, moving on. Let's talk about breaking the ice. So these are the basics we talk about during every session very quickly. And that's really just because I know that when you first get into the app, I know at least for me, right, sync to my phone, sync to my email, there were a lot of people in there that I had forgotten about, that I didn't didn't look familiar. I couldn't remember how I met them. So I really empathize with that, right? However, what you see in first is a reflection of what's in your database. It's a reflection of your contacts, and going through those contacts, over the course of your subscription is an important thing to do. And I want you to challenge yourself a little bit, not to just unfollow or remove all the contacts that don't immediately look familiar, but to do what I call 60 seconds of sleuthing, which will essentially allow you to try to figure out, you got their information somehow, how you know them, and see if you can reconnect, right? With some people, it may be you recognize them, but you just need to go on social media, warm the relationship up a little bit. So really quickly, I'm like highlighting the blog on this page as well, because we have some really good blog posts that I'll direct you guys to that specifically address and have, kind of go into these different topics. So I'm just going to cover them lightly, but if you want more, you want to go more in depth, check these articles out on the blog. So the first one, if you're not sure who they are at all, so this person, you're like, this name is not familiar to me. When you click into their person's profile and you scroll to the bottom of their profile, you'll be able to see their import source. And that's going to tell you where that contact came from. And then you can go and search for them in your email, or maybe just see if you can search them in your phone, if you have any text history, and that should give you some context. Again, if after 60 seconds you still have no idea who it is, just remove that contact. I always say just practice the golden rule, right? When you're trying to reach out to somebody, they have 3 stars, but you can't figure out who they are. What kind of message would you want to get from that person, right? What would make you open to talking to somebody if they were to say, try to at least reference the initial connection of how you guys met or how the contact came in. But if they don't respond, it's no skin off your back, right? If they do, hey, good for you for making the effort, right? So I think there's very low stakes to that one. Either unfollow them or just try to reach out in a way that feels sincere and genuine to try and offer your services, be of service, right? So if you see somebody you recognize, but it's a little awkward or you're not quite sure what to say, the first thing I will always say is that if you take the gracious approach of saying, oh my gosh, I am so sorry I've dropped the ball in our relationship, our friendship. I can't believe how long it's been since we've been in touch. I'd love to hear how you're doing. Again, you're trying to remember some kind of personal information. How is, your husband, how's his job, or, your kids. Try to think of something that you remember about your interaction and mention that in your apology / let's get back in touch. People respond really well when we've all gotten a little lazy maybe in our personal relationship. So everyone knows it's a two-sided thing. But if you come out and say, hey, it's on me, let's make this happen, that's going to go really far. Important that you don't just have that one conversation. They don't ask you to sell their house and never hear from you again, because that's awkward. But what you do want to make sure you do is after that initial connection, if they're warm, if they're open, you be proactive about keeping it going. And then also, if you're not sure what to say, I really love this. It comes from the whole Ninja philosophy. If you don't know what to say, think about what to ask. Ninja has this thing called forward questions. So you're asking people about their family, their occupation, their recreation, and their dreams. So not like actually their dreams at night, but like, that larger category of what is important to them in their life. But if you ask about these 4 topics, these 4, areas of people's lives, it will bring up information, usually related to real estate or what's happening, around that, some context clues that you can put together. So remember, your conversations are not about you talking about real estate. It's about you asking questions and finding out what's going on in people's lives. And then finally, if you see people that you really don't want to talk to, just get them out of there, right? I don't want you to be seeing anybody who kind of like makes your stomach churn. You'll notice in the app, again, when you're in somebody's profile, there's a button that says low priority contacts. So it's almost like a tag, real estate agent, low priority contact, active client, past client. That low priority contact is for somebody who maybe is out of state or works with another agent in your brokerage. So it's somebody who you're probably not going to work with. You don't want them being, primary and first, but you still want them to come up occasionally, just less frequently. That's a low priority contact. If you scroll all the way to the bottom of someone's profile, you can remove a contact. And that's for anybody who gives you bad vibes or like makes you kind of just want to shut the phone when you see them. Just pull those people out, right? So those are your basics on getting a grasp on the people who are in your database. Don't focus on the people you don't know. Don't focus on the people you don't want to talk to. Get to the ones that you do want to talk to, right? That's the whole goal here. All right, so let's get into September outreach ideas. This is my favorite part. I like legitimately love doing this. So September is coming. I don't know about where you guys all live, but I live in North Carolina and it's still like 98 degrees here. So I'm carrying over some of our ideas from August, which I know that they are still relevant. I didn't take over August as the hottest month because I know for a lot of you guys, or September's the hottest month or whatever. It's still really hot here. It might not be hot there. But if you're interested in getting the slides from last month, if you didn't attend last month, but you want to hear more about these ideas, just let me know. But the two I wanted to share were, it's in September, it's like back to school month. A lot of people are already going back to school this month. So we talked about it in July, especially in like the warmer climates. But back to school is a great reason to reach out. It touches so many people. Like they might have a kid in kindergarten or everybody's starting a new grade, right? So you can always ask how that's going. Or if they have, if they just had a kid go to college, right? That's a big event for parents when their kids go to college. So, call and ask them about that. See how it went. How was the drop off? This is a big event in people's lives. So by you showing that you know what's going on and you care, you want to hear about it, that's going to make a great impression. Even better, after you have that phone call, right? Set yourself a next step and send them some college swag, right? For like wherever their kid just went. Send them some sweatshirts or mugs or something like that. They'll love that, and they'll know that you were thinking of them, and especially kind of in a vulnerable time. So great reason to call, just see how someone's doing, how their kid's doing going into this grade, that grade, moving up, and then follow up after that, right? Whatever they say in that conversation, you can find a next step that's going to show you listened and you cared. I also put on here September 5th is National Teachers Day. So if you guys happen to know any teachers, specifically, again, we're looking at our starred list, right? Trying to find reasons to connect with those people. If there's any teachers on that list, or just in general, show some love to the teachers in your life. It's September 5th. And September 2nd is Labor Day. So that's coming up really quickly. At this point, it might be too late to try and put together an event or try to host something yourself. Maybe you already are, and that's awesome. I really want to hear about those events and how they go. It's not too late if you want to have just a couple of friends over to your house to have a barbecue. People might not have plans and they might appreciate you reaching out. But in lieu of actually trying to organize an event or put something together yourself, just see what's going on in your community and put together a little list of ways to celebrate Labor Day, businesses that are going to be open or, parades or whatever else might be happening. And share that out to, your contacts or your database or, just a few individuals if you like. This is where having that database that you can access, right, comes in really handy. And that's why I love the idea of using First with like a MailChimp, because then we can, you can export your starred contacts and you can, send them this kind of information. You can send it to everybody on your list too. But so these were ideas from August. Here's another one for September. So apples are awesome is our theme here. But seriously, I feel like apples are like such a delicious fall treat. And like by October, it's like all pumpkins. All everybody talks about is pumpkins. So let's give apples their month and celebrate them in September. So a couple ideas for that. I love food gifts, surprise, but really like surprising people with apple pies in September instead of waiting to send a pumpkin pie in November when everybody else is sending pies. I love anything like this. Like whatever everybody else does, you do it differently, right? So if everybody's going to send pies in November at Thanksgiving, how predictable, right? They might not even remember that the pie was from you. If you send an apple pie in September, you're going to stand out. You're distinct. You're different, right? You don't have to wait for Thanksgiving. If you don't want to do pies, I also love the idea of like sending a bag of local apples to people or dropping those off at people's houses with like caramel or candy apple making kits. Especially if you know people who have kids, they might not appreciate that because of the teeth stuff, but kids love this. Hey, adult candy apples, more for kids. Caramel apples, let's be real. Everybody loves them, adults included. But I like that idea a lot. And so, or like, if you don't want to spend a lot of money, right, you're not trying to like go out and like send a little gift basket or pies or whatever, just send something in the mail, send like apple recipes, like some a celebration of fall. A lot more people are like trying to cook these days. Like you've got Blue Apron and all that kind of thing. So if you send some recipes and some ideas for, how to celebrate the season with local produce, that's cute. People love that. I think I've met a few agents who do recipe cards and that's like how they keep in touch, which I think is cute. So anyway, Next idea here is invite people to go picking at a local apple orchard, right? So you can send something, you could drop something off, or you can get together with people in person and actually, host a little event. I used to love doing this when I was little. They're not all fuzzy like peaches, and it's not like so hot so that you're like dying out there. It's really enjoyable and fun and easy, and kind of like sweet too. People can bring their kids. And it's not expensive. So like just invite people to come out, organize a group, just go with one other person. It doesn't always have to be a group. But it's a really fun thing to do. If you do want to have a group or bring some past clients, you can have like a little party after. A lot of the orchards will have like a little farm or a barn, and you can talk to the folks there about, maybe they have cider that you can purchase. Everybody has some cider, hangs out, cookies, or maybe even bring in a food truck if you want to do something bigger. They might have a food truck, right? So just see what's available to you locally. I also love the idea of like putting together a little gift bag if you want to do an event like this, like putting some of your swag in there, maybe putting a bottle of caramel in there if it's more an adult party. But that's a great way to kind of make an impression, give people a reason to get offline, get together in person, and it's fun and delicious. So apples are awesome. That's our first idea. It's also the start of football season. So September is the month when the NFL starts back up. Some like high school teams and stuff will start playing as well in September. So a couple ideas that we have here. You can invite people over to your house to watch the first NFL home team game. If you guys are into that, if that's your thing, that's really fun. You can make some food, have some appetizers, maybe make it a potluck style, have people over, or just meet up at a local sports bar, right? Go out and be in your community, watch the game together. It's a great way to kind of meet new people, like-minded, you guys are supporting the same team, and you could even get something together where you have a group of people who's going to meet regularly to watch the game somewhere. And that kind of networking, as long as you're intentional about it, you're not just like throwing back beers and eating nachos the whole time, but you're doing that and talking and being intentional with people. That's a great activity. Again, if you're intentional about who you're inviting, ideally likely sellers, and you're intentional about the conversations and what happens while you're there, all these kinds of fun things really will like directly contribute to your business, right? So it's all about what you do, what you bring to the interaction. So the next one, I know anybody whose kids play football, right? People like love to talk about their kids. They love when you love their kids. So if you know anybody whose kids are playing football, this is a great month to kind of reach out, see how they're doing, how's the kid, they playing again, and mention you'd love to come see one of their games, right? High school football games, elementary school kids play football, but they're usually fun to go to. This is like before it gets too cold, so you can actually like go out and enjoy it on the bleachers. So reach out, say you'd love to come. They'll be super happy that you remembered, super happy that you want to be there, and you'll have a great time. You'll probably meet some other people, some other parents while you're there too, right? Network. And then the last thing I did, a lot of agents I know do the game day magnets, and people tend to seem like they really like them, and that works for some agents. Again, this is another one of those things. If I were an agent, I'd not be sending out game day magnets. That necessarily wouldn't be my style, but that works really well for some people and their clients, right? But I'd encourage you, if you're going to do it, maybe get at least some of them sent to your house and send them out with a handwritten card, right? Instead of just sending them out from the manufacturer. And put a nice little special touch on there. Maybe invite somebody to watch a game with you. Always use those little automated touches or those more distant touches to try and bridge the gap to the next, more personal interaction. Okay, so the next one I have is Hispanic Heritage Month. September is Hispanic Heritage Month. So this is a really fun one. This is one where it's really just kind of up to you to see what's going on in your community, right? I feel like, every month as I think about these things, it's like, here's ideas, and you should just Google it, right? Like Google it and see what's happening in your community. But really, joining celebrations that are happening in your community is a good way to kind of like come out in support of groups, and also just a good way to kind of like be connected and see who's in your community, right? It's a great reason to call if you're going to go to one of these events. You can, reach out to somebody, invite them to come with you. Again, people love proactive people. Everybody wants to be, everybody wants to have that friend that is always doing stuff, always organizing stuff, right? You can be that person, even if you're just doing it with 2 or 3 other people. Not everything has to be a big production, but Google Hispanic Heritage Month in your city, see what's going on, and come out and support and go to some of those events. Or if you're an introvert, you don't like crowds, maybe just put together a list of all those events, right? Or send links to some of the websites that you found. You could send it in an email. You could send it in a little, if you want to make like a little paper mailer, you're gonna have to jump on that. But if you want to make a paper mailer, but I think that's a great idea. Again, you're showing that you're engaged in your community, you know what's going on, and you may, if you're not Hispanic, obviously you can still express your appreciation of the Hispanic community, as long as you're just doing so in a, respectful and culturally sensitive way. I think it's great to express your appreciation of Hispanic culture. I mean, we all benefit a lot from it, right? But you do want to just make sure you do so in a culturally sensitive way if you're not Hispanic. But one great way to do that is by frequenting businesses that are owned by Hispanic people. So whether it's, clothing shops or restaurants or whatever it might be in your community, making sure that you're making an effort to go out to those businesses to support them. You'll probably find that kind of information as you're looking up events, but that's a really good way to kind of show your support and make sure that you're, still within those comfortable lines. All right, so finally, I just have a couple other fun dates that you can celebrate in your own way. Again, same thing, Google them, maybe something's going on in your community if any of this kind of resonates with you. September 1st, International Day of Peace. September 10th is World Suicide Prevention Day. It's like a delicate one, right? Maybe that's not one that you will throw a party for, but it's a good time to remember if anybody in your life has been impacted by this. This is probably a day that they're very much aware of, and is an important day for them, and maybe a day that they are, that just might be good for them to hear from you. You don't necessarily even have to bring it up, right? But maybe you take them out for lunch or something like that. That's why I put that one on here. It's not the same as the other ones, but it's important to know. The autumnal equinox, if you have more hippie-hearted friends, they are most likely celebrating this. It's over a couple days, September 21st to 24th. All it really means is it's this time when the earth is in such a way that there's it's not tilted to or away from the sun, so everybody gets the same hours of daylight sunlight anyway. But hippies love to celebrate it, and it's fun. It's just another reason to go to something, right? And September 26th is World Contraception Day. So celebrate that however you like. I just thought that would be a good one to put on here. I think there's a lot of us who are probably going to be celebrating that day. So that's it for my ideas. Now I really want you guys who are on this call to use at least the next 5 minutes to send 3 texts and set 3 next steps with people on your starred contact list. So using these ideas that we just talked about and setting some next steps. So what resonated with you that we just talked about, right? Do you go ahead, pull it up, pull out your phone, look at your starred contacts. Anybody who you haven't gotten into conversation with yet, or it's been a little while since you talked to them, which one of these ideas can you use to reach out, right? And I want you to go ahead and find 3 people and just do it right now. Send 3 text messages and set 3 next steps. So 3 people who, maybe you're not ready to reach out to right now, but you're going to set yourself a date sometime in the next couple of days to follow up, set yourself a next step. So here are ideas again, right? So we're going back to school. Anybody on your list have kids going back to school, kids that just went off to college, or anybody who's a teacher? Anybody on that list that maybe you could invite over for Labor Day, have a little potluck with, or maybe just see what they're doing. If they have plans, maybe you can just tag along. You've got apples, right? So anybody who you can send a gift to. This would be a good example of a next step, right? So not something you're going to immediately do right now. The texts are things you can send right now. Hey, how's your kid enjoying first grade? Or did you drop, so-and-so off to college last week and how was it? Those are your texts. Send an apple pie. These are the kind of things maybe you're going to remind yourself to do. So set a next step for these kinds of things, right? Or, put together a little goodie bag or invite them to go to an orchard if you want to just do it with a small group of people. Football season, right? Who are your football fans? If you don't just have to look in your starred contacts, you can also go to the homepage. At the top of the homepage, you can search for your contacts. So if off the top of your head, you're like, oh, I know who I want to watch a football game with, or who might be into that. You just search for them in the search bar, and then you'll pull up their profile, reach out directly, or set yourself that next step, right? Don't really know when football starts, so. But that's a great text message to send to, getting excited about it. I don't know what sports people talk about, but that kind of a thing. So Hispanic Heritage Month, right? Anybody on your list who is of Hispanic descent, anybody who, maybe will be celebrating that. I know next month is Hispanic Heritage Month. I'm excited to celebrate. Any ideas? It's a great text to send. And then we've also got these fun dates to celebrate. These are another good opportunity to make a next step If, for example, there's somebody that comes to mind who maybe you want to reach out to on September 10th, right, on World Suicide Prevention Day, somebody you just want to brighten their day, or you just want to put a smile on their face on that day. That's awesome. International Day of Peace. I know a lot of people who appreciate and celebrate this holiday. Again, instead of just putting on your Instagram or something, send a couple people a message, thinking of you, appreciate what you brought into my life, whatever. World Contraception Day. Anybody on that list who should be celebrating that holiday? Anybody got 5 kids? No, I'm just kidding. Or no kids. So that's what I want you guys to do right now. I wish that I could be like sitting there with you. This is one of my favorite things to do when I'm in actual trainings with people. But I'm going to try and figure out, I'm going to stop talking for a second. I'm going to try and figure out how to turn on, if you guys want to talk. So if you guys have questions, or if you guys have other ideas or things that you guys have done that have worked well, that's cool. I had to figure out. Okay, I did it so you guys all now have the ability to turn your microphones on if you want, if you guys have any questions or anything that you want to add about something you're going to do in September. Maybe something I didn't mention that might be fun to share with the rest of the folks who are on this group. Actually, Billy, you're the only person who I couldn't show on your microphone for. It says you're using an older version of Zoom. I'm sorry, because you probably have some great ideas that I'd love to hear. Update your Zoom for next time, though. So this is our little corgi friend who's here watching over you, because I can't see you, but he sees. It's the all-seeing corgi who's saying, set your 3 next steps, send your 3 text messages, y'all. He's watching. But really, I'm going to wrap this up for us here since we just have a couple minutes left. I'm going to leave this up for you guys. This is just a couple resources for you to use. I mentioned the blog and the Thursday tips. Please check that out. I think it's a great resource. They're kind of funny too. They have like memes in them. Our Zendesk, which is like our help desk. If you are in your app, if you go to the network tab and you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see there's like online help or online support. If you click on that, it will take you right to our support desk. So it's like got answers to all of our frequently asked questions. If you actually want to talk to somebody, same thing, network tab, all the way down at the bottom, you'll see email support. And if you click on that, it automatically queues up an email to our customer success team. So you just let them know what you're struggling with and what you need help with, and they'll get back to you, and you can, chat with the person. And then of course, there's my email too. Feel free to reach out to me and follow up. I'd love to hear about your successes. If you guys have anything you want me to share about in next month's session, some of the ideas that I shared actually came from the feedback that we got last month. So that was awesome. And I just want to remind you again to please fill out the post-session feedback form, especially if you would like to get a copy of the recording or of the slides. You can let me know in that feedback form. So thank you again. I'm going to turn off my camera. But if you guys have any questions or anything you want to contribute, please feel free to jump in. Thanks.
Hey, can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, sure.
My name is Amrita. I was listening partially as I was multitasking, and I really enjoy these. One of the things that I did this summer, and I did it right at the end of when school ended and when school started, was a small block party. And I think I'm gaining momentum, so if I do it consistently, I think it'll be really good. But the concept is basically you invite everybody in town to the block party, and it doesn't have to be an expensive affair. I have one face painter and an ice cream truck, and it all costs about $400 to $500. And if I have a lender who's willing to sponsor it with me, it's half the cost. So it's not a huge expense. And I put together a flyer. I put it on the Facebook group page for the town. And the one I'm doing now, which is on Saturday, is really cool because basically all the teacher assignments for the classrooms get assigned. So like who your kid has for the teacher. And so I'm promoting it saying, come meet the kids that are going to be in your classroom before you actually get there on September 7th. So it's like a meet and greet for everyone, especially with younger kids, to see who's put a name to the face in terms of who's going to be in my class. So it appeals to a lot of the younger families. So I just wanted to share that really worked well for me.
That's I love the twist of like making it about like, hey, come and meet your classmates and the other families that are going to be in your class. That's a great like kind of way to make it a little more personalized. I really like that.
Yep.
So you did your invitations. Did you say you did invitations like did you do individual invitations or you just did flyers and
No. So I did flyers. I posted them around the different vendors. I printed postcards of the flyer. So like I printed 4, if you can imagine, I don't know what the size would be, on an 8.5 by 11 paper. I printed 4 postcards. I printed it at my office with cardstock, and I cut it into 4. So you get 4 postcards per paper. And I basically took like 10 or 20, went to the pizzeria shop, said, can I leave it here for the community? Went to the dry cleaners, can I leave this here for the community? So I guess people went to these local shops, they would see it, and maybe they'll pick it up, maybe they'll come, maybe they won't, but it still has my face on it, and that I'll take that,
I love that. Yeah, and that's a good way to do it so that it's really inclusive but doesn't have to require a whole lot of like time and effort and energy. And because it's a block party, just if you want to add or if you have time, you can add another layer on top of that. And that's a